Okay, so as someone who caters to the requirement of corporate in terms of human resource, what we do is, one, we try to manage the expectation of the student. It's not that we don't. We try to send the sentiments of the market at that given point of time, and what should be your rational expectation, and all that we do. And how much it sticks to them, that is very different, but we do that. One. Number two, we started encouraging a lot of inbound companies to come on campus, especially companies like what he spoke about, especially the strong Indian family, what you call it as a group, Indian groups, right? We try to engage them primarily because they find a lot of alternate usage for the resource, whatever they recruit, right? And number three, we kind of sensitize the student that, look, the first job is not your permanent job, or you need to be prepared to switch too quickly to another job if you are trying to get into a firms of this type, right? Be prepared for it, right? And this we do. And fourth, I think he asked, do you penalize the companies if they are of this attitude? That's what he said. So by and large, what we do, we go with a small democratic process of the student decide who should be preferred. And most of the time, the students may not be interested in penalize those firms, because these firms have found out a trick of managing that, right? So therefore, sometimes they get in even though they were not supposed to be, right? That's the way how the as an institute what we react, right? Okay, they're getting to the next one, next set of discussion. This instant reaction, right? Instant reactions or instant decisions what the companies make. How do you expect us to train the students for this, right? We talk about all those frameworks and all that most of the time, or long-term frameworks, right? That's what we teach to the student. Of course, yes, we started teaching a lot of agility-related frameworks also to the student, but still we are not sure how do we train our students so that they will be able to work effectively in a firm which makes instant decisions. So how do you expect us to train them?
One thing that I disagree, probably the way you say, okay, we encourage students to not see the first job as a long-term job, and maybe you should be prepared. I think, and maybe you must be doing right thing.
Not from all the firms. See, some firms who are vulnerable to this, you have to tell them, look, these firms are vulnerable, and you are fetching a job from this, and you have to be prepared for the consequences.
Correct. So that's what I said. Maybe you're doing the right thing. So what is your question?
The question is, how do I prepare the MBA students for those firms who make instant decisions rather than having a long drawn strategies?
No, I think you are doing the right thing in that case. If students know very well that this is the firm that I'm signing up for, and they should be actually penalized.
No, not from a job perspective.
So, Professor, I think the answer is relatively, at least to me, fairly simple. Is that you can't prepare them in any way from a technique or methodology or knowledge point of view. You can only prepare them from a mindset point of view. Or an expectations point of view. To that point, all you can do is sensitize them to the idea that the business cycle is short, to the idea that, if you're going to teach the same case study about company X over 20 years as opposed to company Y over 3 years, obviously people have got to be conditioned to the idea that the business environment is fast, and it's more a mindset thing. Correct. If you're prepared for it,
there is no set rule for this. Point number. The only thing I think what you can guide them is, for example, at that, let's say 24, let's say 25, let's say 10 corporates come to your campus, and the average base salary is going at 25 lakhs or a 20 lakhs or a 15 lakhs, whatever. And suddenly one new company comes which is 3 years old and starts offering double. So it is a very clear indication that every young student, he will look for money, right? He doesn't have that intelligence or the maturity to decide at that level how to choose a company for a for the long-term career. You have to sensitize them on those points and elements. Look, these are the risks associated with this double salary vis-a-vis a 40 years old organization with this kind of core value. If you will prepare them for these things, maybe they will be able to take a better decision. Because there is no set rule to it.
There's no set. I think one of the things that you can definitely prepare a student. Firstly, I don't think the Gen Z looks only for money. So I think segmenting the company just on the basis of salary that they get is a wrong practice. I think you should segment them on the basis of what life stage they are in or what life cycle they are in. For example, a lot of the Gen Z wants to work in startups, right? Because they want to. That is the most aspirational thing, and that I want to open my own startup, and then that's a risk. Growth is very fast, exponential growth. I learn so many things. I learn so many things. I'll be very independent from day one, etc., etc. So there, you can tell them about the kind of risk that they come with. That the startups will only live from one cash flow cycle to the other cash flow cycle, literally, right? So there, they have to be clear on what risk does this sector. So instead of earlier, like what we used to do, we used to have FMCG, consumer durable, finance, that sector should also be there. But also the fact that this whole startup revolution is there and people are just eyeing that I'll open my own startup at one point in time and I'll get the funding. That is that aspiration that most kids have. They should need to be aware that these are the risks that this sector brings in. That clarity has to be there. That's at most what you can basically do.
So and agreeing to me, end of the day, okay, let's not give the same money. End of the day, it is faster growth, which is not normal.
Yeah,
that is what they aspire.
So it's
which is abnormal. So these guys, believe you me, they really give that as a first preference. So that is what I'm saying, that they should prepare them. It's like a share market. Higher the risk, high reward, high risk.
I will bring
So it's like that.
It's important to realize how campus recruitment is different from lateral, right? So in many cases, lateral is about hiring for a requirement that exists today, whereas campus is about hiring for a future requirement. And I can tell you that, and my organization already started preparing for 2025, kahan jana hai, what to do and all. So it's like you are preparing a pool, right, in your organization. So what happens? A talent pool. So what happens is, when the actual date of joining happens, things could have changed. The team that hired you may have moved on. So you are now in a different role. What we have seen at that time, people get jittery. And in the first 3-4 months say, oh, this was not the team that hired me, right? In many cases,
a typical student asks a question, for your lack of good foresight, why should I suffer?
No, I'm coming to that. I think we are over-indexing on the word foresight. We all had that crystal ball, we would have been different, right? I think it's more to say that, look, it's a first job. It's not a lateral hire. You are not coming with post-MBA X number of years of experience. I'm talking about that pool.
Correct.
We have to be agile in those first couple of years, at least saying that, look, fine, there could be jitters. There could be hurdles on the way. I think in many ways, that mindset has to be inculcated, saying that, okay, no, it's not that I have a very narrow vision of what I want to do in the first 2 years of my life post my MBA. If we are able to get that done and say that, eventually, things you'll learn, you'll figure out, the organization will invest in you and opportunities will open up. I think a lot of this, it's easier said than done, but a lot of it is kind of...
To get that done, I was coming to that point only. I think he made a very interesting point, and I'm coming from the personal experiences I had. So I had a niece who was, she got a startup and then she also a startup job, and she got a very good known firm job. And she was adamant that I want to join a startup. The startup was edtech. It wasn't doing well, and I tried explaining that, this is not very good for you and all, but she was adamant. And the reason for her, and this is where I'm coming now, the reason why she was so adamant and was not ready to listen to me was because she was more believing her peers, her seniors, who were just 1 year or 2 years senior to her. And she would say, no, I have been told that the startups gives you more learning, more growth, and that's where I want to do. And I think, so the first thing you should kill is also, for changing the mindset, try bringing some senior alums from your institute, not like really senior, but maybe 3-4 years who have seen this path, and they come and guide the students that what is right and what is a short-term thinking. That would probably be more influencing and something they would really listen to, because who teaches what is...
Out of my experience, I'm telling you, when I go to the class and teach the courses to the students, first thing is they don't have patience. Number one, they don't have patience. As you have rightly said, they don't have patience. Keep listening to the lecture and try to learn something. What they are saying, looking at is that short-term gain. I want to get into company, and after that, I'll manage. Okay,
That's what I'm
first
saying.
get into the company
That
and then
is
manage.
Because
So
I'm
that happens
entering a
because of
startup,
two
that is what I can tell.
Sir, just that happens because of two reasons. One is peer pressure, maybe from the family pressure, or maybe from the kind of fee they are paying to the college, and what is the return on investment, how quickly they are going to recover the money. That is one thing. The second thing is about the competition among themselves. So who got the highest salary? And how do we get into it? How quickly I'll jump into the one ladder? So that is what one thing that I listen from the students. And they don't pay any attention in the class. They're just thinking about it, how quickly you'll get into the company and then grow at an exponential rate.
That's why I said,
One of the root causes of that fixation on salary, is it because that the fees are too much?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
no, I
just
think the only people who can change,
Behind the
who can
pressure.
bring them out of this peer pressure are the alums
Yeah.
whom they trust more beyond peers. Professors or the family, doesn't matter at what stage they are. I think they are the less of the influencers to them because they feel that they are not at my position. They can't understand what is going on. Connect with it. Yes, yeah, that's a better
So
word.
I have two ideas on this. How do we make them? So one thing is, it is very important to make them aware about the differences between the organization and culture versus. So one is that obviously having some case studies. There you don't see this kind of firing too many times, and they will put if there is no role, they will put in another group company, and that is how they. So I'm not saying you start taking names and start taking promoting a company and demoting another company, but when you give case studies, real time case studies, and say, okay, this is what a firm did, this is what another firm did, and this is so people start appreciating the differences between two cultures, and they will automatically themselves decide what they want to sign up for. That is one. Second, maybe my idea and how much it is implementable is the governance score for the company. So if an institute run governance score is there, a company which and not to offend anyone, but this is more found in the MNC culture, easy, laying off and all that. So you have that governance score based on certain 10 parameters and say, okay, this is the governance score. This company has got 9 governance score. This company has got 3 governance score.
Some of these
Something like that.
companies, what I'm talking about, are certified by international certifications on governance, sustainability.
He's
and
not
everything.
about that governance.
Not that
He's talking about
governance,
your
my
custom
governance.
governance.
Your internal.
Your internal governance, that score will help them decide, okay, I want to just look at this rat race of high salary or high learning or high position, vice president. They hire vice president, they hire senior vice president. I think they need to themselves decide whether they want to go for it and they want to go for a where they want to look for the secure future for 10 years maybe.